Hello, everyone. I'm Principal Frank Sanchez. I'm going to we're going to start in a minute with our freshman program. However, we always want to begin highlighting many of our great community partners, and one of them, of course, is our CHS Scholarship Fund, Columbia High School Scholarship Fund, CHSFF. We have Madeline here to kind of explain how you can help and participate. I believe we've raised, I think last year, over $200,000
Yes.
for our students, our seniors, and alums. So, without further ado, why don't we start with um, um, our special guest, and then we'll go right into the freshman program.
Hi, everybody. My name's Madeline Tugetman, and I'm the president of the Columbia High School Scholarship Fund. And I know you're thinking, oh, scholarships, it's a long time away. But let me tell you, you're going to blink and you'll be sitting in on senior parent night thinking, where did the time go? We are a nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to provide need-based scholarships to Columbia High School seniors and graduates. The scholarships can be used toward any 2 or 4-year college, trade, technical, or certificate program. They could be renewed for as long as the student, is continuing their education. Last year, we awarded $265,000 to 142 seniors and graduates. We can't do this without your help, both financially and just supporting us. Please talk about us. Please visit our website at chssf.org. You could reach us through there and send us a message. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful freshman year with your student. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mylan, and we'll see you this weekend.
Oh,
Correct?
that's right. Saturday night, big shindig at the Maplewood Tennis Club. Come on and have a good time. Bye.
Thank you. Um, I'll get the link for you and drop it in the chat. So, by the way, what we're going to do is we will definitely be using the chat as quickly as we can. But I'd like to introduce our two guidance counselors. First, our assistant vice principal, Miss Iliano Cabrera, can't make it tonight. She has her own back to school night for her daughter, but she is the ninth grade vice principal. She's the person that you can contact for all things dealing with attendance, absences. It's the same thing. Questions about what's happening, 504s, things like that. We also have, as part of our freshman academy program, in which we started last year to really kind of focus on the transition of eighth grade into ninth grade, we have designated two specific counselors, really just focused on the entire ninth grade. Counselors after that, although again you're going to have Miss Murphy and Miss Fleming do an incredible job. You'll have another counselor 10th grade through then 12th grade. But these two counselors are specialists with young adolescents in the freshman year. And so I don't want to talk anymore. I'll use the chat, and then we'll go to any questions at the end. But please, Miss Murphy and Miss Fleming, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Murphy. I have the latter half of the freshman alphabet, which we'll go over in a little bit, but I'll give Miss Fleming a quick moment to say hello before I begin.
Everyone, I'm Mrs. Fleming. Um, Miss Murphy is going to be the one that's sharing the screen, so you might not see her, but she's going to kick us off with the beginning of the slideshow, and then I'll do the ending part. Okay.
Thanks, Miss Fleming. So welcome to the CHS class of 2028. It sounds like a long time away, but I'm sure it'll be here before we know it. And we're here to help your freshmen get there and get ready to graduate. Mr. Sanchez kind of helped us go over the who's who. So he's our principal. Miss I, as the students call her, is our vice principal of the freshman class. might be helpful to know, her secretary is Miss Danielle Holloway. She's amazing. If you need to get in touch with Miss I, she's another good person to be in contact with. And then myself and Miss Fleming thought it would be important to put our emails up, so you have them. So we have Y Fleming with 1M if you're trying to reach Miss Fleming. And my email, common mistake because we have an amazing art teacher, Miss Karen Murphy, who works here. I'm K Murphy too, since I got here second. So just take note of that if you're trying to reach me, if we haven't been in contact already. Miss Fleming has the last names Abate through Johnson, and I have the last names Jones through Zanika. So that's the breakdown of our freshman class. And we are your go-to person for many of your freshmen's needs here. So we thought it would be good to go over what CHS counselors do for our students. One of the main things we do is individualized student planning. This includes any forms of academic advising, scheduling, college and career counseling. Yes, there is some of that at the freshman level. We have graduation progress monitoring, making sure your student is getting the correct number of credits to move on to the next grade and get closer and closer to graduation. We also do a lot of responsive services, such as crisis response, small group counseling, and individualized counseling. So I have many students who come in here and they're like, can I talk to you? And we're always like, yes, of course, that's what we're here for. We're not just here for scheduling or academic concerns, but really anything that your freshman is going through. The social transition is something we talk about a lot. And we have a lot to offer them in terms of services. So we help connect them to other services we have in the building. We do a lot of indirect services, like I said, referrals to other programs within the building, consultation with the child study teams, the INRS committee, 504s. With Miss I, we work in conjunction with her to work on 504s. And we collaborate a lot with parents, guardians, administrators, teachers, coaches, all to just advocate better for your student. So we do a lot of connecting our students to the right people in the building. If you're never really sure where to go, your counselor is a good first stop shop to find out who the right person to address your concern is. So some of the types of support we offer at CHS, we have in kind of this ascending staircase. We always start with you as the parents and caretakers and guardians. You're very often the trusted adult in your children, your students' lives. So we always kind of defer to you first to see what's going on with them. How can we better support you and your family? And then the next level above that, two of the very important categories in your student's life are going to be their classroom teachers, because they're in the room with them for the majority of the day, as well as their peers who are with them and around them. Hopefully friends from different sports teams, classes, clubs, are definitely making up their support network. Then once you have kind of reached out to the teacher to find out what's going on with their student, the next good step is your school counselor. Or we have social worker, social work interns, and a student assistance counselor in the building as supports as well for your student. Our social work interns are amazing, and they're available to meet with your freshmen as much as weekly or less than that to address emotional concerns or mental health needs with your student. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to Ms. Fleming or myself, and we'll help get you connected with the referral process for that. Then we have our CHS nurses. They're incredible. We have Nurse Krigler and Nurse Sikora. We have the CHS Loft, which is run by Family Connections. They provide a lot of great support after school. They do a lot of good trips, so they're something to look into. We have ESS, which helps also with the emotional needs of your student. And then more on the academic side of support, we have our Period 9 conferences, a great time for your student to conference with their teachers, receive direct support from them, Or if they can't see their teacher, we have Achieve tutoring during conference period with our NHS tutors who are ready to work with your students. I've heard from Ms. Kirk myself that we have more tutors than tutees at this point. So if your child is in need of tutoring, it's a good time to get linked up to that. We also have our intervention and referral services, or INRS, which is one of the many things we're working on in the counseling center this year, a way to get your teachers in touch with you about what you're seeing with your student, and all of those things. And then we have 504s and IEPs as well. And then kind of at the top level, we have our administrators. So if you need big support for your student in any capacity, you're probably CCing Ms. I or Mr. Sanchez on those emails about any of the larger needs that your student has. Just to kind of pull from that staircase to focus specifically on the academic, social, emotional resources, your number one place to stop is your school counselor and or the counseling annex, where we have the interns that we mentioned before. Conference period is going to be a big one. We're going to stress to our freshmen that while it may be tempting to leave right at the end of the day, staying that extra little bit might be the difference between a B and an A sometimes. Then we have, like I said, other programs like our interns, the SAC, the LOFT, plenty of programs to support your child's mental health. The CHS Counseling Annex programs will be located in our new pool space when it's finished. They're run by interns and they provide academic and or social emotional support. Some of the programs that we commonly offer include Eyes on the Fries, which is a lunch study skills group. If you feel your student needs to build their executive functioning skills and study skills, we will happily refer them to be at Eyes on the Fries, where they get free French fries to go sit with tutors and build those skills weekly. We also have Wellness Wednesdays, which include a lot of meditation and mindfulness programming. The interns do a great job, whether it be making slime or going through meditation or coloring pages, anything like that. We also have Slam Lab, which is tutoring that happens during the lunch periods by our teachers. We have science, ELA, and math teachers who will be in the annex during the lunch periods doing tutoring. And then we have, as I mentioned earlier, NHS Achieve tutors who meet during the school hours if they're able to, especially during the conference periods, and even sometimes on Saturdays. We have Saturday Achieve tutoring as well. So we have plenty of options if your child needs academic or emotional support in this building. Then we,
And can I, oh, you were going to talk about the library. I was just going to, do you mind if I just jump in for a moment?
sure, no problem.
Yeah, Ms. Murphy, I think it's exciting for the ninth graders that they're coming in at the really right moment with our referendum construction. I'm sure they have, I mean, they might have had some stuff done at MMS or SOMS or seen maybe some even in some of the elementary schools earlier in their career. But we are pretty much, and I can't wait for you to see it at back to school night. We have our library closed right now. So it's going to open up in probably January to February. But what we're going to be using in lieu of that, because that's where we have many of our Slam Labs or Achieve tutoring, is that we'll be going to be doing it in our Commons area. So the Alumni Commons was the old pool, and that will be set to open in just a few weeks. Until then, though, when we start our tutoring, Achieve tutoring next week, we'll be having it in the cafeteria. So I know we're kind of just using some of these words that might be new to you, like Achieve tutoring or Slam Lab. Right now, just because of construction, and I go to these weekly meetings and things get pushed up and some things are getting pushed back, we are not going to let that get in the way of supporting our students academically. So we will definitely make sure to let students know where they will be meeting when they sign up for these services, but all of that will be taken care of.
Thanks, Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Cosgrave, who is our media specialist, in the meantime also has been temporarily relocated to the counseling center, which has been amazing to help the freshmen get logged onto Canvas, Power School, things like that. And he shared these slides with us to go over a little bit more of what he can offer. So that is his email there. Might be good to take a picture of or jot down really quick. It's J Cosgrave without the E at the end at the SOMSD handle. We have Mac and Via is one of our library services, which offers more than 50 databases for students to research for their classes if they have to write any papers that require research. These are all available via the Mac and Via link that's on their Canvas page. So once they've signed into Canvas, there's a single sign-on process that automatically allows them to view those databases if they need to do any research, or they can access a variety of ebooks if they're into reading ebooks and audiobooks through Mac and Via as well. So while our physical library is currently closed, we still have plenty of ways for them to access the information they need. Many of our freshmen are coming off of summer and they need their school email and or Canvas passwords reset. They don't remember them, they lost them, or something happened that logged them out. So if parents need to access Mr. Cosgrave, they can email him to reset their students' school Gmail accounts, or the students can reach out from a personal email if they have to do the same. The Google single sign-on allows you to use your school email account, log into several of our resources. So Canvas is the same as the Gmail logon, the ebooks and databases in Mac and Via. We also have other library services through Follett and as well as their Google Drive. So Mr. Cosgrave can help with Canvas-related questions for both students and parents. So if you need to log on to Canvas as a parent observer, he can also get you hooked up with that. That's a great way to, without asking your student for their password, their information, you can just become an automatic observer through your own email account to see what homework assignments they have, how they're progressing throughout the year, etc. For Power School questions, Mr. Cosgrave is the go-to contact for our freshmen, so they can email him as well for any Power School account questions. But for parents and guardians, you'll need to reach out to Parent Portal Help at somsd.k12.nj.us for assistance. Librarians only have access to our student accounts for Power School. So if you need any Power School help, need help logging in, resetting passwords, take a picture of that email as well, just so you have that to reach out to. And if you forget, like I mentioned, you can reach out to myself or Ms. Fleming and we'll remind you where to go.
And Mr. Cosgrave, because the library is closed, has an office right in the guidance suite. The door is open to the hall. You can just walk right in and he can hook you up with that and help you. Even if, a Chromebook loaner is needed, he's also the person to talk to.
Yeah, any tech concerns, we always send our freshmen right to him because he usually has the answer. And then Ms. Fleming is going to take over from here to go over more of our counseling offerings as well.
Thanks, Ms. Murphy. That was great. I always learn something new hearing these presentations. Okay, so our counseling website. This is the other place, the go-to place for everything dealing with counseling. On the homepage, there's the calendar of all the college visits, and I know they're freshmen, but there's still some that are very curious about that. And when we have our college and career fair, I encourage you to take your freshmen there too, to check things out. But on the website, you're going to get information about the program of studies, scheduling dates. Forms are usually on there. So when we start the next set of ad drop period, which will be, I think it's like mid-October, we kind of check in and see if they still want to stay in that level or make a change. So this is the place that you should go to find out all of our calendar, our yearly events, and everything we're doing in the counseling center. Cal, you're turning, right? Okay. So what is the CHS survival kit? Of course, Canvas. The students, that's where all of their assignments will be posted. They need to look at their calendar on Canvas, and that's where the teachers post the assignments. I'm right about that, right, Mr. Sanchez? The
Yes, if it
calendar on
doesn't,
Canvas?
if it's not on Canvas, it doesn't exist. I keep
Okay.
stressing that with our great faculty.
All right, good. All right, and then as Ms. Murphy mentioned, Power School is the other part that is going to help them not only keep track of their assignments and their work that they've done and what grades they've gotten, but also I believe they can see their attendance. So that's another big part of the transition from middle school to high school. We tell them that attendance matters. Like you miss more than a certain number of days, you might be in jeopardy of not getting credit for that course. So it's really, really important to send them to school. Of course, when they're feeling good, if they're sick, stay home. There will be, ways. I mean, kids get sick, it happens. But as long as they're, healthy, they should be coming to school as often as they can, getting to their classes on time, all of those things.
Can I
We
just,
already talked. Yeah.
I was just going to say, can I also just stress that Canvas, we have a daily announcement for students. It even explains the clubs that we know that are happening that day. I mean, it gives them a word of the day. It talks about different things that are happening. For example, I believe we have a freshman assembly next week. Again, to emphasize goal making and climate and culture within the freshmen, which in the ninth grade community. So that's just going to happen for them. So all those announcements happen on Canvas. So it's really important for them to get on. And their teachers have already kind of worked them on. Now for parents, we'll be sending a Canvas kind of how to, if you would like. I would just suggest, not to put the student notifications onto your phone, because then you'll be getting a notification every time like a homework assignment is assigned or an announcement is made, and you don't need that, right? You could probably just be great by getting maybe the daily announcements. And then even if you want to kind of mirror and see what your child sees, that's pretty good. But, what I think is really nice about like executive functioning skills that we are promoting through Canvas is the calendar. So you can see what's due on certain days. So just wanted to point that out. I think I'm good. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. Thanks. Thanks. We already mentioned the website. Score, it's not pronounced Squire, even though I love when they say it like that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they say Squire. It's hilarious, but it's Score, like SCORE. This is the platform that we use to have students start exploring colleges. Okay, it's for any families that have older children. This is the new Naviance. We used to use Naviance many years ago. Many years ago. But SCORE has been what we've had in place, I believe, since 2020. This platform, and yes, you can go on as a freshman, even though you feel like, 2028 is so far away. It's really not. And it's never too early to start looking at schools and seeing like all of the things that the colleges have to offer without actually going to the school. So it's a wonderful platform. The 10 through 12 counselors will use this to help send all of the supporting documents for their colleges. So seniors will really need to use SCORE to make sure that they're on and there's just so much that happens. I think SCORE is now even connected to the Common App. So it's going to be just a much, I guess, simpler process to align your Common App with SCORE, and then ensuring that all of those things that need to happen, letters of recommendation, things like that, their official transcripts, that's how we send them out to the schools. Okay. Student and parent email. We tell the students, I think Ms. Murphy mentioned this to them at their freshman meeting that first day, like pick a time, or Ms. I, pick a time to say that you're going to check your emails. Like maybe it's either, first thing in the morning or right before you leave at night. So you want to make sure that you're consistently checking at least once a day. because that's how we communicate mostly with the students, through email. Right. Planning ahead, yes. Like, as we've said all night, it goes fast, these 4 years. So you want to make sure that you know what it is, and this is our number one job as their school counselor, is to make sure that they are going to get those graduation requirements met by the June of 2028. And here they are. All students, all New Jersey high school students must have 4 years of an English language arts course. So they must take that each year for 4 years. They must have 4 years of physical education, health, and or driver's ed. Well, not and or, they do have driver's ed. All sophomores will take driver's ed. That's another big, like, what's the big deal about PE? Well, it's right here on the sheet. It's a graduation requirement for high school. I sadly have seen lots of seniors spend their summer making up those credits, thinking, oh, it's just, fitness training. Like, I can miss the days and not get credit, but no, you actually can't. It's a New Jersey law. So please encourage them to take their physical education classes seriously and attending them. The next graduation requirement, they need 3 years of math courses, science courses, and social studies courses. Then they need 1 year of a world language. If they are planning to go to college after high school, we suggest 2 to 3 years in one consistent language. So not like taking Spanish 1 year, then French, and then Italian. Like, they should take 2 or 3 years of Spanish, or 2 or 3 years of French, or 2 or 3 years of Italian. They need 1 year, 5 credits in fine arts, and 1 year, 5 credits in 21st century life and careers. Now, of course, that doesn't mean like once they take course there or a fine art, they're never going to take another fine art again. No, you can take more. These are the minimum requirements. Okay, so it's as long as they get that 1 year with those electives, they'll be good to go. And of course, add on as they decide which area they want to take more of those courses in. All students have to pass a half year of a financial literacy course. And then all of those, as the 4 years go on, we hope that kids earn about 30 to 35 credits a year. You should be able to get to 120 by 2028. And that is the number of credits needed to graduate. Planning ahead, just knowing, to be considered a sophomore next year, your child will have to have earned 30 credits. So that's the minimum requirement each year. To be considered a junior, they have to have earned 60 credits. To be considered a senior, they have to have earned 90 credits. So most students are enrolled in 35 credits this year, but the range is usually 30 to 35 credits. And we are experiencing a little shortage right now with electives, but I'm sure that's going to get all worked out. We're not the only school district in this pinch. I'll do that. Okay. Planning ahead. So the GPA, not something that we want them to get stressed out about this year, but we want them to know that it is going to matter as they go on in high school, right? So the GPA, we have this lovely chart here, and this is even on the website too. So you see the scale for the unweighted courses, and then the scale for the weighted courses. At the end of their year, at the end of every year, on their transcript, they will have 2 GPAs. They will have an unweighted and a weighted, okay? Obviously, the weighted courses, they're going to count more, as if you take an academic class, every time you move over to the right, it's going to go up. So you go from an academic to an honors, the weight's going to get higher. Honors to AP, the weight's going to get higher. So that's how you read that chart. Planning ahead, GPA is updated at the end of each school year. So don't, you won't be able to see what their GPA is after Q1, okay? You have to wait till their final grades are posted at the end of the year, and that will be their true weighted and unweighted GPA. Right now, of course, with the PE classes, because they run by quarters, it looks like there's a GPA already, but that's not it. All the other courses have to be factored in as well to help list those two types of GPAs. And yes, weighted are those core subjects, right? Okay, and yeah, I love this slide. You are definitely more than your GPA. So, you know, we encourage students to really be true to what the level of courses that they want to take, not based on their friends, right? Like, because if they are preparing to take the AP courses, they have to do the work too. So if you're planning on taking APUSH your sophomore year, but you're not really into the history thing, that's not the class for you to take. There will be other AP electives that you can take in your junior and senior years. Planning ahead decisions. So the course selection timeline, we were thrown a little bit, not, you know, full transparency. Schedule was not created as early as we hoped it would be, but I feel like the lines are definitely less. The schedule change form has definitely less submissions. So hopefully we are there. And so it was a rocky start, but we, you know, for the most part, everybody should be pretty much set with their schedule for Q1. There are math advancement courses that will be offered in the summer. If your student wants to get to that calculus course by junior year, there are ways of doing that. There are some courses that we offer that have to have a prerequisite. The one I like to use is the photography course. You have to take traditional photography before you can take digital photography. So it's not a preference of, I don't really like traditional. You have to take that one before you can take the digital. We also have the option for students to apply to VOTEC schools. We have different partnerships with different ones. I remember one year, my first year's, the WOTEC school was Eastwick, and the students learned, one of my students was a culinary arts student. So it was really cool. And then our more popular VOTEC school we have is Union County. That's the one that a lot of our students choose to go to. Option 2, boy, this was a big one. And I gotta say, you know, we mentioned option 2 when we visited the 8th grade students, because we warned them that you gotta watch out for those emails in August, because that's when all that information was given out. So of course, you know, summer months, some people are traveling and they might have missed it. But option 2 is if your child plays another sport outside of school, there was a form that was sent out that you could request to not have your child have a study hall for PE instead of taking the PE class. Okay, but of course there's a form, there are deadlines, you got to meet the deadlines, and if you didn't meet the deadline, there will be other quarters that you can do it. Unfortunately for freshmen, they can't do it Q4 because they all have to take health. All 9th graders take health Q4. I'm not going to say about driver's ed because I feel like something's different happening with that. Before it was all Q1, but now I think there are some sophomores that are taking it Q1 and or Q2. No, just or Q2.
Can I just real quick, Ms. Fleming, did you say that for VOTEC, when we do the half-day program with Union County, that starts at 10th grade, correct? Or
yes. Yeah. Well, I think, yes, you have to apply in 10th grade. Oh boy. Mm-hmm. You have to apply in 10th grade. So if you're thinking about doing it for the 11th grade, yeah, you got to make sure you talk to a counselor and tell them that you're very interested in, you know, what are the options there.
So we'll send out from the guidance counseling office an email to freshman parents when that window opens, right? Because there's a what's it called? Application process.
Application process, right. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I
for our
think,
half-day program with Union County, just so you know.
right, share time. It's called share time on the
Yeah.
schedule. So they also, I think though, if any students are interested in cosmetology, you can apply as a freshman, right? And start your sophomore year. So lots of things to talk about, but hopefully, your child will know to come see the counselor and then we can give them all the details. Okay. All right, I think I'm good on that slide, Kel. All right, so this was what Ms. Togeman was, well, no, this is different. Cougar Cares. I guess this is the HSA, yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, just someone asked about Essex Tech. Essex Tech is a full year option. And yes, that's always an option. But that starts, I think Essex Tech came in eighth grade probably because they start freshman year, correct?
that's correct. I actually called them. One of my students was interested in doing that, but you would have to withdraw from Columbia
Yes.
and apply to that school, but you have had to have done that in eighth grade. All right, so Cougar Cares is a great our community support organization that provides food assistance. We get deliveries of fruit, sometimes carrots are a big thing, and we'll have them like kind of around the guidance suite and the nurse's office and the athletic and activities office. So there's always like times when, if someone needs something, a little bite to eat, there are definitely things available for them. It also provides funds so that all the seniors can attend the prom, graduate with caps and gowns and everything. And then their website is listed there on that page. There's a link for that. And a way for, if you want to donate or support the work of Cougar Cares, that's always a beautiful thing. Look, this statement: is your student eligible for free and reduced lunch? Please, 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 please fill out that form each and every year. You have to do it each and every year. It's really going to be helpful when it's time to start registering for SATs or other testing sites. If you are eligible, if your family is eligible to get those, get free and reduced lunch, then you can have fee waivers for a lot of the things that get pretty costly as you're getting closer to the college years. Yeah.
I'm putting the free and reduced lunch application. I'm sorry, is always at the bottom of my email like signature, but I'm also just going to put it here in a second. Sorry.
Yes. And if you're not an emailer, we have hard copies in the counseling center. So feel free to send your child to pick up one. Okay. And yeah, that's their email. All right, so the HSA, it's a great resource for school-related activities. So you as parents, get involved, and there's lots of ways that you can help. I know we see it all the time, right, Kelly? Parents that are available for whatever you're available. So you might want to pick a day and come help out. Miss Petrosia, who works with all of the counselors, she's amazing. She's another great person to reach out to and see how can you help. Okay, and I'm telling you, a lot of times when we don't know stuff, we're going to Miss Petrosia to get that answer. Okay, and yeah, become a member. Membership counts. Okay, but all that really matters at high school, are those social connections, taking good care of yourself, and having good mental health. And that's us in a bucket. That's what we want for all of our students to have. So that, I think, is the last slide, right? All right. So I look forward to getting to know my half of the alphabet. But as we all told the students, like, it's okay if Miss Murphy isn't available, they can always come to me. If I'm not available, they can always go to Kelly. So between the two of us, we're here for your kids, and we look forward to getting to know all about them.
Thank you. And Kelly, or Yoli, can you put in the chat room just the Tutoring Achieve website? And I know I'm going to put it on Canvas, I think tomorrow. So for students, but I don't know. It's off the counseling website. Just a couple of things regarding grades, and I want to talk about cell phones, ID cards. So just a couple of things, if you don't mind, everyone. First, I want to really thank our counselors. They really had a difficult challenge when the schedule was finished in August. I sometimes always push to have it in at the end of June, but I wasn't here in June, but I do know that I have to thank central office for bringing in our counselors 2 weeks early, to scrub as many schedules as possible. And I will say that, the first few days, I mean, it's high school. You definitely schedules change. I taught, even when I taught high school and I taught AP classes, I knew I wasn't teaching the first 3 days any content, right? Because of the ads and the drops and the changes that happen. But by the 8th day, by the second week of school, by Friday, I feel like we had over 95% of our issues cleaned out. They did an incredible job. And right now, actually, the rest of our counseling team is already working on their senior audits. They're working on college application process for those early action seniors, and also looking to support our students who have struggled in the past and who may have been retained in certain classes. So that's the focus of the other counselors right now. But both Ms. Fleming and Ms. Murphy are focusing still on all things freshmen. And that includes things like cell phones, right? So let's kind of talk about that. I said this the other day that my daughter, who's a senior, texted me on the first day of school, "Oh my God, they're taking our phones and putting them in metal boxes." And I got so excited because I was like, "Oh my God, take a picture." And my wife and I are texting back, but your phone was already in the box, so we didn't see it. But I think all schools are really trying to balance this issue with cell phones. And so Mr. Bing, our new superintendent, has asked for 2 schools to kind of pilot cell phone usage in the buildings and things like that. So MMS is the one school that really picked up on it. And then we are volunteering the freshman class. We're going to be probably in the next several weeks going to be using a product name, I believe, well, I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but I believe it's going to be these Yonder pouches. Parents, you're going to be involved in this process, right? You're going to have to volunteer your child to do this. But as I told the upperclassmen in our meetings, I just want you to know, we said, listen, this is only happening to the freshmen. And as they applauded and clapped, I did stress that we're going to be having forums, student forums and parent forums over the next 2 weeks. We want the feedback of the top sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Already, we've seen a huge, I think, a paradigm shift really in the classrooms. Our teachers are asking students to put their phones. Some teachers have, gone crazy. Some people are awesome, not awesome, but like they built phone caddies and chargers and stuff. Me, I probably just have a little plastic Tupperware box, but some people have that as well. And our kids are responding. I think they understand the importance of having a cell phone, but yet being 100% focused. That's just good for mental health, and it's also obviously important for focusing. So that's something that we're going to see, and we're going to keep moving along. Identification cards, student ID cards. Freshman cards came out last week, and we've been just sending them out to students. Freshmen actually have their card is color-coded yellow because that means they can't go out to lunch. So if, I go to get a pizza at Sabatino's and I see a young student with a yellow card, I'll walk them back with me. But so that's the importance of that. But those cards, students can have to be worn. And so we've talked about it. In the last couple of days, students have gotten their cards. If they don't have a card, Mr. Cosgrave will be able, say his name a lot, will be able to get that done in the counseling annex. I'm sorry, the counseling offices. Someone did mention, a lot of QR codes. We do love them, and because they're easy, they're fast, the links are too big, but I mean, even in my class, when I was still teaching, I still used the cell phones in the class because it was really beneficial. I really hated actually laptops in the classroom. My daughter just freshman in college just started, and she was told me that all her classes banned laptops in her classes because of students not focusing or doing other things. So anyway, long story short, ID cards. If a student doesn't have their ID card, we're not looking to. This isn't about getting them nervous and anxious and worried. We'll give them a temporary card. However, we do want our students to learn about keeping their cards. And so it's about like ritually taking it off at the end of the day, putting in your book bag. Every student comes into school with their book bag. Yes, they have lockers now and a combination. They can find that in Power School, but I'm sure your child has never touched their locker. Not our seniors, juniors, and sophomores. They don't go into their they have lockers, but that's up to them. So I think that's the best way. At the end of the day, you put this into your book bag, you bring your book bag the next morning, and you just put it on. Shouldn't be an issue. I do that. I have executive functioning problems sometimes, all the time. And I put that in my car. I do it every day on my mirror. So I think that should be, but they go to get a temporary card outside of the main office. We're going to have a table and that process spelled out for students. Okay. Huh. Oh, and by the way, I do see I'm observing classes all the time. I always see students at the end of the day, they take their phone out, from wherever they have it, and then they take pictures of the board, right? Because they want to take those notes. So it is common for our students to have their phones. We just don't want it to be an excessive issue that blocks them from learning. Okay. Is that all I said I was going to talk about? IDs, cell phones. Oh, Canvas. Just so you know, as grades start coming in, the accurate child's grade is found in Power School. Yes, some teachers are assigning, might be grading some assignments in Power School, and that syncs. I'm sorry, they're doing some grades in Canvas, right? That syncs to Power School. But the Canvas grade, because you could open up Canvas and see a grade, that is just for the grades that are on Canvas, not the grades that are in Power School. The Power School grades are all the grades. So we'll stress that with our freshmen. I thought students had Canvas in 8th grade, but maybe they don't. So if that's a new thing, then we'll just keep reminding them. The real grade is in Power School, and we remind our teachers to continue to sync your Canvas to Power School. All right. I think that's good, right? I think we answered most of the questions. We have, just so you know, with attendance, we gave you 3 ways. Power School is probably the easiest. A phone, there's a phone number that you could do a hotline, or you could email Miss Mitchell. It is taking, it's a new process for our team. And so it might take us a day or two to process some of those. You might see a cut. It's okay. Students aren't getting called down the next day for a cut, right? It takes us a little bit until we see it's verified. So anyway, it's probably good for a couple days, but then Miss I may call your child down and be like, hey, this isn't verified yet. What's going on? And then before any detentions are given or anything, we have the opportunity to call mom and dad or caregiver and just be like, hey, was this a verified absence or not? And then we fix that. Okay. Oh, I got 5 messages. 9th graders do have lockers. They're in Power School. The child just has to go into Power School. They didn't have lockers the first day or 2 because of construction, but they do have lockers. It's in Power School. You could find it. And we have many, many clubs. We'll send you a link about clubs. Spectrum, I believe, are basically our Gay Straight Alliance club. Actually has a meeting tomorrow. Their first interest meeting is tomorrow. Today we had an awesome flash mob in the cafeteria by our STEP team, because I think their first interest meeting was today. So we have so many clubs. It's a great thing. I'll send you. I mean, we have so many clubs. I hate to even say this, but your child can even start a club. But I would definitely look for the clubs that we have already. I'm just trying to find the link for the clubs. Just give me 1 second. It's under activities. That's where it is. Okay. I'm putting it in there. There's a question about deadlines of making course changes. I'm sorry. I don't. Can someone from the counseling department answer that?
So it's supposed to be on the 24th, but then there's like 3 other windows where that can happen. We go all the way up to the end of semester 1. I think that's when that's like the last time you could make a change.
Okay.
But that's in the program of studies.
And in the handbook, I think it's actually in the handbook. So, which the link is already provided there, right? So, and then of course, just contact a counselor or someone to do that.
Mr. Sanchez, I saw somebody ask about their child having to have a foreign language the first year. They don't, because it's a minimum of 1 year for graduation. So if there are other courses that had to be added to your child's schedule, there are quite a few freshmen that don't have a world language.
Oh, okay.
And it's not a big deal, because they can do it for the next 3 years and be just fine.
All right. All right, everybody. I'm going to try to just see some of these. How do I know who my counselor is? Is it on PowerSchool?
Yeah, and it's on one of the slides here. I have the beginning. I have Abbott to Johnson. And then Miss Murphy has Jones
to Zuniga. So go off your child's listed last name in PowerSchool if you have different last names.
Okay.
And if you want to email both of us, we'll let you know who's the real counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I appreciate it. I think I'm sorry, I wanted to start Maureen off but I didn't say that. Just welcome to the Columbia community. If this is your oldest child, this is a great high school. I love it. Miss Murphy came here as an intern, and we loved her so much. She loved this place so much that she stayed. And I don't want to say anything, but Miss Fleming graduated 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Miss Fleming is a Cougar graduate herself. Your child's in a really great place. And our kids go to great colleges. Our kids do incredible things, and our kids also find great family and connection here. So they're in a good place, and we'll definitely keep an eye on them and foster what they need for success. So glad to be part of the journey with them. All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks, counselors. You did a great job. Appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye.